Joining us now is Father John Hotze from Kansas, great state. Father Hotze is the judicial vicar for the Diocese of Wichita and has spent over 8 years investigating the proposed sainthood of Father Kapaun. Father, thank you so much for being with us today. Very much appreciated.
Well, it's great to be with you.
Now, nearly 6 decades ago, Army Chaplain Father Kapaun served in the Korean conflict. Tell us about his service.
Well, actually, I'd have to say that his service started well before the Korean conflict. He was known to be a servant his total life. I mean, when he was growing up, he would ride his bicycle the 4 miles into town to serve Mass for Father Skrinar before school would start. At the school, it was a 3-room schoolhouse, and his classmates knew of him as somebody that would always be there to help him out. Throughout his grade school career, his classmates benefited from him helping in their studies. Even he went to the Conception Seminary in high school and was there at Conception Seminary for high school and college and Kenrick Seminary, and you can hear the same thing from all of his classmates. I mean, they talked about him being willing to help out anybody that was struggling, anybody that he could help out, he would do so. He volunteered, or actually after he was ordained in 1940, he went back to his home parish in Pilsen, Kansas, St. John Nepomucene Parish. And he also served at the Harrington Air Base. And like I say, this was 1940, just before the breakout of World War II. He helped out at the Harrington Air Base, which was about 10 miles away, and that's where he first kind of got the call to be a chaplain. When World War II broke out, he asked if he could be a chaplain, and Bishop Winkleman at the time released him from the Diocese of Wichita so that he might go become a chaplain during World War II. Served in the India and Burma theater, and it was there in India and Burma that he obtained a title as a soldier's chaplain. That's what the soldiers would call him, because he was always there when they needed him the most. He felt that he was needed at the front lines, so I talked to his jeep driver, actually, several years ago, Mr. Sherman, and he said that it got to be kind of a running joke. He said that when Father Kapaun was there, he said the fighting had died down, but he said there were still pockets of resistance. But he said they would be there in camp, and he said if you would hear gunfire, he said everybody would look up to see where Father Kapaun was, because he said invariably he would be on his bicycle, riding his bicycle to where the fighting was, because he said he knew that's where he was going to be needed. So he came back after World War II, back to the Diocese of Wichita, was sent to Catholic University and studied both education and history, had a master's degree in education and a minor in history. Came back to the diocese for a while and was serving in the diocese, assigned to several different parishes. When he was serving at Timken, Kansas, which was another Czech community like Pilsen was, where he grew up, he asked the bishop if he might go back to the chaplaincy, because the military had issued or sent out a call for chaplains to return to the service. They were experiencing a shortage of chaplains, and at that time it was Bishop Carroll, Bishop of Wichita, and he kind of held back for a little while and didn't respond to Father Kapaun's inquiry. So Father Kapaun persisted. When he persisted, he finally was released to go back to the military. Eventually made his way to Japan and was then over in Korea when the fighting broke out in Korea.
Unbelievable. Father John, it sounds like he was a very, very courageous man and priest. Can you tell us about your experience during the recognition of Father Kapaun's heroic acts with the Medal of Honor?
Well, he was awarded the Medal of Honor this past April 11th and 12th in Washington, D.C. He received the Medal of Honor for what he did in the prison camp. I mean, the lives that he saved in the prison camp. He would go out of his way to try to help out the men. I mean, there was nothing that he would not do for them. He would clean their filthy clothes. I mean, the men would get dysentery, would get pneumonia. They weren't able to care for themselves. One of the things that was the worst in the prison camp was that the men would become infested with lice, and if you didn't pick the lice off your body every day, they wound up killing you. So Father Kapaun would be there to help pick the lice off of people's body if they weren't able to do it themselves. He would go out and forage for food at night. He would often go out and try to break into the storerooms of the prison guards and try to find food and stuff for the prisoners, because they're all on a starvation menu or a starvation diet. one of the things that the men all appreciated him doing was being able to instill the hope in them. The ones that survived said that they would not have survived if it hadn't been for Father Kapaun continuing to encourage them, letting them know that they would be able to go home, that they would get home, that they would be back there with their families and friends, and that they still had a nation that appreciated what they were doing. But he was able to do that, and it was because of the actions like that he was able, or that he was awarded the Medal of Honor.
Wow, that's great. The canonization process is an arduous one. Where can people learn more about Father Kapaun's intercession?
If they would like to go, we have a website. It's Father Kapaun. It's FRKAPAUN.org. Or also there's a page on our diocesan website, which is just the Catholic Diocese of Wichita.org.
Well, Father, thank you so much for being with us today, telling us that amazing story, and have a great day. Always good to talk to someone in Wichita, Kansas.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Bye now.
John. God bless.